I am there, isn't it? Nobody needs to externally confirm to me that I am there. This awareness of the self comes from the ultimate source actually. It slowly steps down and comes into limitation, where at the lowest level, one may consider oneself as one's body as the self. Then one's thoughts or emotions and feelings as the self. Then the knowledge that is acquired as the self. So all this is awareness at different levels. But the awareness of the Atman is such that it does not need any reinforcing from outside. Down below, we need reinforcing at several levels. That's why we have so many psychologists and psychiatrists and whatnot who have to reinforce and say that, yeah, you are confident and you are good, you are really capable of, and other things. Because down below here, it is very constricted and very narrowed down, and we operate in doubt and fear. Down below, we operate in doubt and fear. These are the two factors which we see. And therefore, some external reinforcement or confirmations are required in certain respects. Not that somebody outside will come and tell you that you have a body and that you are awake and all that. But the idea of what is the nature of this self, or what exactly am I, or the mind having this propensity to compare itself, always feels some kind of an inadequacy, always feels as though it needs to be bolstered, it needs to be reinforced, and some external factors should create the environment for you to establish yourself without much of doubt and fear. But when it comes to the Atman per se, at the highest level of its own consciousness, it does not require any other knowledge or outside awareness to confirm its own awareness. I am deliberately using the word awareness for the term Bodha. Bodha is awakening. That's where the term Buddha also comes from the root Bodha, to be awakened. So the Atman, which is by itself awareness, does not need any other awareness. Bodha Rupataya. Its very nature is that of awareness. Now, an example that is given is a lighted lamp does not need another lamp to illumine this lamp, isn't it? There's a lighted lamp. There is no desire in this lighted lamp for another lamp to come and illuminate, because it is Swatma Prakashani. It's on it, it illumines itself. See, these are some very good examples where a lighted lamp illumines itself and everything around it. Everything around it also illuminated by it. So you don't need another source of illumination to illumine what is illumining other things. Can you just hold on for a minute, please? Sorry. So, this is the nature of the Atman. Atman is illumined, self-illuminating, like the sun. Swayam Prakasha, called as Swayam Prakasha. Okay. So, it does not need any confirmation from an outside source, is what is being emphasized here to tell us the very nature of the Atman. These are all indicators or pointers for us to understand the nature of the true self. Even as I mentioned, at the lowest level also, even in the case of a child, nobody needs to tell the child, that it exists or it is there. 1 minute, please. So these indicators are to tell you that at the highest level of awareness, it is self-illumined. It is self-awakened. So that is being a good illustration is being given for us to understand about a lamp. This is a very traditional example, and it's a straightforward thing. This shloka doesn't need much of elaboration per se. Now we come to the 30th verse. This is an important verse in one way. Nishidhya nikhilopadhin neti netiti vakyatah vidyad aikyam, vidyad aikyam, it should be aikyam. I think there is some mistake. 1 minute. Yeah, vidyad aikyam. It's not aikyam. Vidyad aikyam mahavakyaihi jivatma paramatmanoho. By a process of negationing of the conditionings of the upadhis, through the help of the scriptural statement, it is not this, it is not this, the oneness of the individual soul and the supreme soul, as indicated by the great Mahavakyas, has to be realized. Now, the ancient seers and sages of the Upanishadic time have devised a beautiful way of inquiry, a very insightful way of inquiring into things. If you are trying to locate, or if you're trying to, I would not like to use the term find, or if you are trying to come to something, to the realization of something, then the first thing that is required is to eliminate all those things which are not true. Coming to truth is not a consequence of any activity per se. It is already there. The truth does not come into being because we are searching for it or because we want to know it. It is already there and it is all pervading and it is on its own without the need for any other evidence or pramana. It is there. Now, what is to be done now? The very beautiful technique is to start from the known. See, the unknown cannot be directly approached because we do not have the wherewithal to come to it. The existing instrumentality that is available to us is that of the senses, the mind, and other aspects of it. Now, this instrumentality, the limitation of this instrumentality is well known. That is one aspect which has been already dealt with in several contexts, where it is not very difficult to perceive the limited nature of the instruments which we have, whether it is sight or hearing or touch or taste or smell or even thinking, everything is highly limited. And I have used these three terms called limited, partial, and fragmented. You can't see the whole thing. And you want to break things into fragments and pieces in order to understand. Otherwise, it can't understand. The mind cannot understand. Now, that we are operating in this sphere has to be very, very clear in our minds. For any spiritual quest, for any quest of something beyond the known, let us not even presume that there is something beyond and other things. Those things are only for a kind of an intellectual understanding of it. We need not even assume anything whatsoever. But the starting point should be from the known. And as we discussed earlier also, the clear answer from all of us, from any rational person, if a question is put that, are you the body alone? There will be an emphatic no as the answer by any rational person. Any normal human being would give an emphatic no as the answer if you ask him whether him or her as the, are you the body alone? So starting from that, this exercise of neti, not this, not this, not this, na iti, na iti. Starting from there, we examine it. Am I the body alone? No. Am I my thoughts alone? No. Am I my feelings alone? No. Am I my emotions? No. Am I a combination of my body and my thoughts and feelings and emotions and other things? No. Am I purely my experiences? No. Am I my memory alone? No. Because again, we have come to that earlier. We have seen that when we are talking about three states of consciousness as waking consciousness and dream consciousness and sleeping consciousness, even when the mind is not active and the mind does not record any experience whatsoever in deep sleep, still when one comes out of the deep sleep, one recognizes that during the sleep also I was there. The only thing was I was not aware of the fact that I was there. But nobody would deny that during your sleep you are not there. Technically, it would be a correct question. When you don't know whether you are there or not, how can you assume that you are there? So at that point of time, it is as good as you or me not being there at all. But once when we come out of that, we emphatically assert that yes, I was there. But is that state you? No. So I am neither the waking consciousness, nor the dream consciousness, nor the deep sleep consciousness, nor a combination of any of these things. And I am not my body, not my thoughts, not my feelings, not my emotions, not my experiences, not my knowledge, not my memory. Nothing of these things can really point out and specifically say that you are this or you are not this. So it is a very interesting experience which the sages have proposed thousands and thousands of years back. Because they also recognize the fact that you cannot come to some truth about which you do not know, and to know which you do not have any proper equipment or instruments. Then the only way is to deny everything else. Because you know that what I am denying is not permanent. what I am denying is changing. It cannot be the changeless. And what I am denying is the superfluous or the superficial accretions of this identity, which I am calling it as I. This is an acquired identity. This acquired identity is an artificial identity acquired for certain specific purpose. And that is the reason why they have gone to the idea of, just as you are not the dress you wear, so also you are not the body you have. So it is something which is assumed through a process of birth and other things. It's something which is you have assumed it. And more importantly, if you remember earlier, quite some time back, I have also mentioned another thing, that when I was born and I started becoming aware of my own presence and the I, as we call it, which I, when I was maybe 3 years or 4 years, I am identifying myself as so and so, my parents as so and all that. That I, at the age of say 2 or 3 or whatever it is, or maybe even earlier, that's not the important, but right from then onwards till today, am I the same person or not? The answer is yes and no. In one way, I am the same person, persisting through the whole process of space and time. But in another way, if you look at it, I'm not the same person at all, because there's no resemblance in any manner, at any level whatsoever, to what I have been calling myself as the I. When I was 2 years or 3 years old, how tall was I? Maybe 2 feet, 3 feet. What was my weight? What was my, what about my features then? And then have they not been continuously changing? Have I not been learning so many things? Have I not gained so much of experience and knowledge? Have I not gained what we are calling as learning through education? And am I not the says the person who has experienced so many things? So there is no comparison which can really say that you are the same person at one level. But at another level, at a much deeper level, I am the same person. Whether I was 2 years old or 3 years old or 63 years old, I am the same person. At a much deeper level. But at any other level, at every other level, it is not the same person. Not absolutely, there's no comparison, no relationship at all if you look at it. In any manner, including our features and complexion and our capabilities or acquisition, whatever you name it, it has always been changing. But much deeper level, there is an entity which says that I am the same person. This is the process of neti. You have to go much deeper into it and see that you have not been this, you have not been this, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this, and you have to deny every form of conditioning, every form of instrument through which you are operating. While this appears as a mental process, the denial of the mind is also necessary here. The denial of the mind itself has to be looked at. You have to deny that also. The examiner also has to be denied. The observer has also got to be denied. Now, how do you do it? He says, Vidyad Aikyam Mahavakyaihi Jivatma Paramatmanoho. These are all, as I said, these are all explanations of the process. Don't hold on too tightly to this process, and let us not try to go on discussing about what is the Jivatma, what is the Paramatma, and what are the attributes of the Jivatma, what are the attributes. Those are all, the mental gymnastics. What is important is certain statements have been made. Yesterday, in a different context, when I was talking about the new perspective on Advaita Vedanta, I mentioned that the profundity of such statements has to be examined at a different level altogether and not involve the known processes of knowing it or coming to it. You have to examine it at a totally different level. That's why you need to hold this statement in your consciousness, in your mental consciousness. You need to hold this statement like Prajnanam Brahma is a Mahavakya. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma, Brahma. These are the four Mahavakyas from the four Vedas. From the Aitiriya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Mandukya Upanishad. These Mahavakyas, you have to hold them in your consciousness. You go. So you have to hold these statements in your consciousness and examine it from different dimensions. Different dimensions in the sense, not trying to say whether it is true or false, or accepting or rejecting, or justifying or condemning, or something like that. It is purely observation without allowing the known processes of the mind interfering in it. Now, a question will normally come as to whether such an observation is possible. But it has been very clearly said, yes, it is possible. Yes, it is possible. The whole thing is, that you hold it in your consciousness, not allowing any other activity to interfere in the process. Then what happens? It goes to a much deeper level where the truth will reveal itself. One is only providing the right kind of environment in the consciousness whereby the truth will reveal itself. You need not do anything. That's why called as an unfoldment. It is called as a blossoming. And the nature and the beauty of this truth is that the very observation leads to becoming totally one with that truth. That is the aikyam of the Jivatma Paramatma which is being mentioned here. Because if it is the mental process, it will assume that there is a Jivatma and there is a Paramatma. The Jivatma is microcosm, the Paramatma is macrocosm, and this microcosm and the macrocosm is one and the same, and it will come to this knowledge. All that is an aberration of the mind. That's only for explanation. Like this, calling the Paramatma as an effulgent flame and the Jivatma as a spark of that flame. All these are okay at their own level for understanding purposes. But we can't hold on tightly to that understanding, thinking that yes, I have understood it mentally. Because that mental understanding itself is a great barrier, it's a great hurdle. Again, I am trying to remind you that when we are talking about these things, deliberately I have said, I have called the title of our sessions is an intuitive appreciation. We should provide the right ground or field to allow that intuition to operate. Allow that intuition to operate. If you don't allow, we will never come to it at all. There's absolutely no possibility of coming to it within this field of the known. So you see what is happening? There is contemplation at one level, meditation at another level, and unification, or what is now generally called as samadhi, at the third level. So there is contemplation by holding the statement of the Mahavakya in our consciousness. And if you provide ample space for it, it will go deeper and deeper to a level of meditation, nididhyasa. Then it will go to a further level of unification, which is generally referred to as samadhi. That is the reason why these Mahavakyas are important. It is holding on to a very profound presentation, or what I would call as a pointer towards the truth. The Mahavakya is not truth. The Mahavakya is only a Mahavakya. It's a great statement, that's all. Statement cannot be true on its own. What the statement represents, or what the statement is indicating, we need to move in that direction and come to it. Otherwise, it's not possible at all. It's not possible. So that is what we are looking at now. And that is why they say the first part of it, or the beginning part of it, is Shravana, listening, the art of listening, the art of looking, the art of learning. I'm using these three terms from Jiddu Krishnamurti. There is, if you Google it, you will find an in-depth feature of Jiddu Krishnamurti's talks on these three items, which has been brought out beautifully by the Krishnamurti Foundation, England. The art of listening, the art of looking, and the art of learning. This learning is not an accumulative process, because learning for a mind is accumulative. Whereas learning at a higher level is non-accumulative and directly experiencing. It is in the present continuous. All the three terms he has used as listening, looking, and learning. They are in the present continuous tense. Because it's the only point through which you can learn. You can neither learn from the past nor the future. The past is already dead. It's gone. It is a memory. It's only an impression. Any experience. The moment we are caught in time, every past second simply vanishes into the past as an impression, as a memory, as some kind of having undergone an experience. And the future has no relevance to our process at all. How does the future come into the picture at all? The future can't come into the picture at all. So that is also the reason why this dimension is called as timeless. Because when there is no past and no future, technically you can take out the present also, because what we really call as present is a very, very thin and invisible line between the past and the future, isn't it? Because time can be divided into milliseconds, microseconds, picoseconds, nanoseconds, and whatnot, and it is infinitely divisible. So where can you say that this is the past, this is the present, and this is the future? This is also an imagination of the mind. So when Jiddu Krishnamurti is talking about the present, what he is actually meaning is that you are in a timeless state. You are neither influenced by the past nor awaiting the future in any manner. And you are in a totally timeless dimension, and all learning can take place only in that dimension and no other dimension. This is the beauty of it. If we miss this beauty, if we miss this subtlety, then either we fall into this category or that category. We fall into the past category, or we fall into the future category of imagination and expectation and anticipation and whatnot. You see, the one needs to, be very swift to catch this subtlety. And they have added another dimension to it. Now, what will happen when you actually come to that truth? The fact of the matter is, there is no you there, and there is no factor acknowledging that that truth is there and I have come to that truth. You don't need an answer at that point, isn't it? You're no longer interested in an answer. The whole process is denying what the truth is not. When you come to it, you don't need an answer. You need not say, wow, I have come to the truth and I'm able to see the truth and all that. Then it is no longer truth. Again, to use a beautiful quote of Jiddu Krishnamurti, he says, when you are there, the other is not there. When the other is there, you are not there. The you is an accumulation. The I is an accumulation. See, our tradition has also acknowledged this. But unfortunately, what happens is the people with a limited understanding of things can, put it into a box, make it cliched, make it something, not really worth, examining. You can't make it that way. That's why this is something very sacred. But unfortunately, what the fellows with little understanding have traditionally made, and brought it to a state of misunderstanding the timelessness of this dimension. It is not illogical also. One should be very clear from what I have discussed that there is nothing which is illogical. Your logic, which applies at one level, is not valid at another level. I'm not trying to play with words and say it is beyond logic and all that. It is within the framework of the logic, but the perception of it has to be dramatically altered. That's what we are calling it as transformation. There is a very interesting story, especially in the South Indian culture. We have a tradition when a newly wedded couple, they come to when the girl comes to the in-laws place, before entering the house, before entering, crossing the threshold, all, it's a playful thing. It's all girls and boys, everybody will accost her, stop her. They will stop her, and then they ask her several questions, and they want to tease her. Nowadays, I think it's not a very valid thing. But in those days, girls were supposed to be very shy and very submissive and not talk much and all that. It had like a cultural background of its own. So the girl is asked to say aloud the name of the husband. And we have a tradition which says you should not take the name of the guru aloud. You should not utter the name of the spouse. You should not utter the name of the elder son. And all that. There's a tradition says Gurur Nama, Atma Nama. And all that. I'll come to that sloka at a later point of time. But this is the tradition. So normally she is very shy to utter the name of the husband. And this is picturized with the story of Ramayana. Rama and Sita came to Ayodhya and they were about to enter the palace. Then all the girls stopped Sita and asked her to tell her that, proclaim or announce the name of her husband. She was very shy. She was not doing it. Then they started pointing out to all and sundry people around. They pointed to somebody and said, is he your husband? Immediately she would say no. Because she's not ready to accept, just like that, anybody being called as the husband. They say no. She says no. Then they point to somebody, no. Somebody else, no. 10 people they point out, she says no. But when they point out to Sri Rama and say, is he your husband? She doesn't answer. She simply bows her head down. This analogy or the beauty of this story can be applied to this neti way of approach. Is this the truth? No. Is this the truth? No. Is this the truth? No. You point out to 10 different aspects and point out and ask if it is the truth. You will say no. But when you directly come to that truth, there is no answer for it. When they point out to Sri Rama and say, is he your husband? She doesn't say, yeah, he's my husband. No. There's no need to acknowledge it that way, because there is a perfect matching or union of the husband and wife through that identification. So this neti philosophy has come into our culture, has become a part of our tradition. Nowadays, it's a question of fun, or just for the sake of teasing the bridegroom or the bride, we play these games. But the deeper meaning of that is exactly this neti approach to reality. So you need not acknowledge, or you are not there exactly to acknowledge when you come directly in contact with the truth. That's what the Mahavakyas are supposed to do. Why only the Mahavakyas is a foolish question. You can hold anything in your consciousness and examine it. But the Mahavakya has a profundity about it. When it is said Prajnanam Brahma, Brahma is a symbol. You are defining Brahma as something. And you are saying the definition is that Prajnanam is Brahma. That Prakrishta Jnana. Prakrishta means excellent. The something which is beyond all definitions. That Jnana, that awareness is Brahma. How do you come to it? Through no known process. No known process can bring us to that. Only holding it in the consciousness and allowing it to reveal itself is the process. Allowing it to reveal itself is more important. The whole point is the mind, when it is active, it does not provide any space for such a holding in the consciousness. In the yoga tradition, there is a technical term called pratyaya. This technical term called pratyaya is like what I said about the Mahavakya. The Mahavakya could be called as a pratyaya. It can be anything. You have to hold it in your consciousness, and that's what is called as dharana. And an uninterrupted flow of consciousness in the observation of that pratyaya is what is called as dhyana. Tatra pratyayaikatanata dhyanam, there is a beautiful sutra for it. And when
Sarji, can you
everything
repeat?
else, yes, sir.
Kindly repeat this, what you said.
Sir, see, in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there is this process of dharana, dhyana, samadhi.
That's right.
These three put together as a practice is called samyama.
Yes.
Of the 8 angas or 8 limbs or 8 aspects of the yoga, Patanjali Yoga,
Yes, sir.
5 are considered as external. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. These 5 are called as external. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama and pratyahara are called bahiranga. These are external limbs. Dharana, dhyana and samadhi are called as internal limbs. Anga. Anga means a limb.
Yes.
Dharana is that technique of holding a pratyaya in the consciousness.
Okay.
Mere holding is not enough. There has to be an uninterrupted flow of consciousness when you hold it. Ekatanata. The continuity should be there, because mind has this capability of getting distracted at the slightest opportunity. So dhyana is that continuity. And in other contexts also, Adi Shankara calls it as Tailadharavat. It should be like the flow of oil. Oil, because of its density and viscosity, when you start pouring it, it will not be like water. It will have a continuity of its own. Once you start pouring, even if you see you are pouring something viscous like honey, the viscosity and the specific gravity of that will allow it to flow continuously without interruption. So as an example, Taila Dharavat is given. So that should be the nature of, that means there should not be any interruption in the flow of consciousness, then only it is called as dhyana.
Yes, sir.
When the observer is dropped and the observed is also dropped and there is only pure observation, that is what is called as samadhi.
Yes, sir.
then only this Jivatma Aikya, Jivatma Paramatma Aikya can be known. Only in that state of consciousness it can be known. So these Mahavakyas have to be held that way. That is what is important.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you.
That is the process that is brought in Vedanta Darshana and Yoga Darshana. So that is how we need to understand this. Neti Neti. While it starts as a mental exercise, it should lead to a state of holding a profound truth in our consciousness and allow ample space for revealing itself. There's no question of my unfolding it or my revealing it. The my is the problem. The my means the mind has already come into it. So if you hold on to it, it will reveal itself. Then only you will come to that. That is the beauty of this verse and this technique of Neti Neti. I wouldn't really call it as a technique, but an approach to reality. It's an approach to reality which starts at the verbal and the mental level, but transcends those two levels to come to a state of consciousness where you have provided a vast space for its own unfoldment. It is something infinite. Unless you provide an infinite space for it, it can't reveal itself. Once you break the boundaries that have been created by the mind, you are in that infinite space. Again, this is a misnomer actually. So to say that I am in that, the I has no role to play at all at that point. Just for our own explanation, I may be using the terms I. But this I has no role to play when these boundaries are broken, when these boundaries are shattered. The limitations are shattered. Then you need not do anything. Then you need not do anything. Even the Bhagavad Gita talks about it. See, all jnana is for removal of ajnana only and nothing else. You can't bring that truth, that ultimate reality, that Brahman, that what you call as Paramatma, whatever name you give, you can't bring that into being. It's not your effort which is going to bring that into being. In fact, it is your effortlessness which is going to bring into being. Like again, the example we give of allowing a lake to become clear and limpid. What do you need to do? You need to do nothing. Anything you do is only going to create more problems. You allow the lake, which is, say, representing your consciousness, allow that consciousness to become clear on its own. So what is to be done at the initial stage is, don't allow too much of words to dominate our life. Don't allow too much of thoughts, too much of emotions, too much of feelings, too much of activity of the mind to be carried out. Progressively you withdraw. Progressively you allow this to withdraw. That is what pratyahara is. That's what the Bhagavad Gita also says, yatha kurmonganiva, like the limbs of a tortoise. Just as the limbs of a tortoise can be withdrawn inside, it says you withdraw all your senses inside so that they do not disturb you. And the sense includes the mind. So creating a space where there is no activity or no role for this mind in terms of whether it is thoughts or feelings or emotions or disturbances of any form, that is the ground which we need to prepare. Beyond that, nothing is to be done. Beyond that, any activity is only going to be detrimental to the process. That is the fact of the matter, and we need to examine it that way. Okay?
Profound, sir. Very profound. Thank you.
Okay, sir. I will stop sharing this. It's already 11 o'clock. Any further questions, please? If there are any points to be discussed, because this is I am going very slowly. I am not doing more than 1 or 2 shlokas per week because we are not in a hurry. We need to examine things very closely and have the right kind of understanding at the beginning itself. At the beginning itself, one needs to have the right kind of understanding of things. Otherwise, we'll be wasting a lot of time in these processes and thinking that we are pursuing some kind of a spiritual path and all that. There's nothing profound in that sense. Only thing is, you need to be very clear about the basic factors that are operating. How the mind is a great interference and operating when it is not supposed to operate. It's operating in a field when it is not supposed to operate. So how do we allow it? Or why should we allow it to see? The role it has got to play has to be very specific and identified, and then it allow it to keep quiet. Again, coming back to another profound this thing of Krishnamurti is, it should be like the electric switch. The switches we operate, it should be like that. If you want light, you switch it on. When you don't want the light or fan, you simply switch it off. The mind should also be that way. My mind is to be used in a particular context. Say I have to go somewhere. The mind needs to be in operation because it should know where to go, how to go, what are the precautions to be taken, what is the means of communication or transportation that is required. All that the mind will do it. That's all. Now, having reached it there, the mind doesn't have any further role to play in that process. If there is another role to play, then use the mind in that context and finish it off with it. So it should be like the on and off switches we have in our home. Can we operate the mind that way? That is what is important. Okay. So any further questions, sir? Anybody else? Janakiramji, Suman Goenkaji or Umeshji, any?
I put the switch on to attend the program today and now switch off.
Happy. Don't allow it to operate too much also, because it will consume a lot of energy. It is not free. Whether it is mind or anything else, it consumes a lot of energy. That is good in one way. If we are really able to switch off and switch on that way, I think we are already there. Huh? Umesh,
Sir, can you?
yes, please. Who is it?
Can you please repeat Panch Mahavakyas, sir?
The 4 Mahavakyas. The 4
Yes.
Mahavakyas are Prajnanam Brahma. It is
Yes,
not Brahma.
second.
It's not Brahma. Please mind it.
Okay.
Brahma is a masculine gender term used for that Trimurtis.
Okay.
This is a neuter gender term called Brahma, Brahman or Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma is from the Aitireya Upanishad of the Rigveda. The second Mahavakya is Aham Brahmasmi. This is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad of the Yajurveda. The third Mahavakya is Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is from the Chandogya Upanishad of the Samaveda. And the fourth one, Ayamatma Brahma, is from the Mandukya Upanishad from the Atharva Veda. So the four Vedas are Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, and Atharva Veda. The four Upanishads connected with these Vedas are Aitareya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Chandogya Upanishad, and Mandukya Upanishad. These four are called as the four Mahavakyas from the four Vedas and the corresponding Upanishads of that Veda. Okay?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Right. Yes, sir. I see some chat here. Srinivasan ji says to please continue in the same elaborate pace. It is wonderful. Thank you, sir. Ramchandran ji, profound and clear process to bring higher consciousness to come to play by transcending mind to other level. Changed my total way of meditation on Mahavakya. Thank you, sir. Okay. Umesh ji.
For me, today, what you said is very profound. You said, do not bother and do not think too much. Do not repeat words too much. Do not study. Just stick to the basic principle of it.
Absolutely.
And contemplate.
Right.
I think for me, what you have said long ago in one of your earlier talk where you said the spirituality is all about purification.
Yes.
I think I stick to it, and I think that's the only Mahavakya for me.
Yes. See, sir, Umesh ji, sorry. Umesh ji,
Yes.
I have been saying this right from the beginning. Study is not a problem. You please study. It doesn't matter. Any amount of study you can do it. That's not a problem at all. But if your study is leading to confusion, please stop it immediately. Study should lead to clarity. And you should be able to correlate several aspects of your study. If studying one and studying the other, studying the third one or the fourth one is going to create a confusion saying that so-and-so said like this, so-and-so said like this, so-and-so said something else, so-and-so said something else, I'm not able to correlate it, then you are in problem. So any study which leads to clarity is okay. The moment that clarity leads to confusion, that study leads to confusion, then you drop it, whoever it is. Whether it is the Vedas or the Upanishads or the Adi Shankaracharya or anybody else for that matter, is of no relevance to me if I am not getting clarity out of it and I am getting confused out of it. Only when it gives you clarity, then things, all complexity will go away and things will become much more simple. It will become very simple. If you remember, I have given two pairs of words, clarity and simplicity.
Yes.
You remember? I have been saying this for a long time. Clarity and simplicity. Clarity should lead to simplicity. And I have also given another this thing. What is the Sanskrit word for clarity? You seem to have forgotten, most of you.
Prasada.
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 Prasada means clarity. So that's the reason why I am asking you. I don't think during these COVID times people are going to the temple, but next time when you go to the temple, whether the priest or the person performing puja understands it or not, please ask him in English to give clarity. Extend your hand and say, please give me clarity. He may be confused, that doesn't matter, but you will not be confused in the process thinking that it is some eatable.
Yeah.
Clarity and simplicity is one pair of words. The other pair of words is gratitude and humility. Most of the problems arise because we are not grateful for what we have. The moment we are grateful for what we have, which in fact should be very limited, there's no need for so much. Most of us seem to be suffering from excess. So, gratitude would automatically lead to humility. Humility, as Krishnaji used to say, is not something which you can cultivate. If I say I'm very humble, that itself shows my arrogance. That itself shows my arrogance. Sir, I would like to humbly submit. If somebody says like that, the moment that fellow says you can take it for granted, that is full of arrogance only. Because it is not something which you can cultivate. It is something which should blossom on its own, and that will happen in the soil of gratitude. The flower of humility will blossom in the soil of gratitude. If you allow that, if you look at everything and see that how grateful I am for what I am being provided with, which billions in this world are denied, not millions. Billions in this world are denied. Today, it is so unfortunate that out of 8 billion, 3.5 billion people, that is about 350 crore people, do not have 2 meals a day. So how grateful should we be for what we have? And how eager should we be to, contribute to this and share what we have? So that pair of words is another thing, gratitude and humility. You see, spirituality is not something out of the world. It is very much in the world, very much in our daily life, very much in our daily thinking and feeling and acting. In our thought, word and deed, it is something which should be reflected here, now, and come into operation. That itself will purify. That itself will be a purifying agent.
Underline is come into operation, come into practice.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Gulu
Doesn't
Advani
matter
says
how much.
Yeah, please.
No matter how much you study, listen, or expose yourself, unless you practice it yourself and make it your own experience, it is only somebody's experience.
And don't be afraid of failure. We may fail 1,000,000 times, but that's not of any consequence. We have been failing. We have been failing and we'll continue to fail also. That's not of any consequence. Don't give too much of importance to failure. You're going to fail, but hold on to it.
Yeah.
Guru Advaniji therefore says, I am going to follow the art of listening, looking and learning. Thank you very much, Krishnaphani. Thank you so much, Guruji. You are, I think, you are our senior most member.
Thank you so much, Krishnaphani ji. I keep learning from you.
No, we keep learning from you also as to how to be in your state of mind. I hope I also live up to your age and continue with your mental attitude, which is wonderful. This is wonderful.
It's up to somebody up there, Krishnaphani ji.
Yeah. Okay.
Krishnaphani ji,
Yeah.
I want to just, this, what came out today in your talk, and you talked about it, was that learning only happens when the I is not there. Pure learning. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was very interesting. Plus, the other fact is that, even creativity only happens in that very present moment, as JK calls it.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. That's very beautiful. And yes, if we bring our past, any baggage into it, it's not pure learning. It's only a reflection of our own past coming into that learning, which is not pure.
In the Christian theology, there is a term called impedimenta.
Yeah, which is baggage.
The word impedimenta means baggage.
Right.
So all baggage is an impediment.
Correct.
The past is a baggage.
Yes.
Our knowledge is a baggage. The I is a baggage. So one has to drop that baggage.
Oh.
One has to progressively drop that baggage. You know that beautiful thing of the Sherpas in Himalayas. They carry a lot of load. They carry a lot of load. They help the mountaineers and all. And I'm told they carry a few, boulders also, small size boulders in that weight. They climb, say, for half a kilometer or so, 1 kilometer. They find the baggage heavy. So they throw out a boulder. And they feel lighter. They go further and then throw the second one. So every time when you throw off these boulders, you feel lighter and you feel encouraged to move forward.
Correct.
So sometimes carrying these boulders are useful in certain respects, but you should know when to throw them also. You can't fall in love with the boulders and then not leave them.
You won't reach anywhere if you keep carrying them.
Yes.
We got enough boulders already.
Yeah, there are enough boulders already. We need not add new ones. But we should know when to drop these boulders also. Okay. It's already 11:15, madam. So shall we close? There are no further discussion. My point is, I want all the participants to actively, participate and come out with some view, with their understanding, and they have. Don't keep your questions to yourself, thinking that they may be foolish questions or not worth asking and all that. Every question has it is something personal to you.
Right.
So you need not worry about it, because these are important, because it's in the small things that the devil is always in the detail. The devil is always in the detail, not in the elaborate things that are the things. In all major issues, we all agree. But when it comes to the details, when it actually comes to action, then we have a problem. So I request. Yes, sir. Yeah, sir, Sarangiji.
Sir, you are giving so much of ideas for practice.
Yeah.
There is very little to question. When you are in a practicing mood,
No.
the mind is not inquisitive enough.
Yeah.
Unless you practice, you won't learn.
Yes.
And
That is true.
this learning is becoming more or less, automatic type of thing, listening to you.
Yeah, it should be in the
Thank you,
present.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sarangiji. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Krishnaphani ji.
Mahashay Krishnaphani ji, just one word.
Yeah.
Mahashay Krishnaphani ji, namaste.
Dr. Sana.
The most profound and the point to be retained in the mind in today's talk is holding all these Mahavakyas in consciousness.
Yes.
Not just in memory and forgetting, but consciousness, where that anusthana, that kind of a
Present continuous.
integration happens. So beautiful. It's a wonderful statement, holding in the consciousness. That is a wonderful takeaway for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sana.
Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Krishnaphani ji. Thank you so much. Sajini, are you here?
Yes.
Sajini?
Yeah, she's there.
Maybe she's not here right now. So I'll close then. Krishnaphani ji, thank you so much. Everybody, we'll see you again on Thursday at the school program, which Sajini will post all the details of that. And then we'll see you on with Krishnaphani ji on Friday for Bhagavad Gita at 10:30, and then again for Atmabodha on Sunday at 10 o'clock. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes.
Sajini ji has come on.
I'm here now. I couldn't unmute, so I heard it. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Krishnaphani ji. Really, with immense gratitude, I'd like to say that you explained the Neti so well as the Mahavakyas. And what I think most of us should do is bring in more simplicity, as you said, clarity and humility. And I guess that will happen when we, get rid of all that excess baggage that we're carrying.
Yeah,
Let us now.
In fact, Sajini ji, we had, if you remember, quite some time back, we actually wanted to do a program at the School of Ancient Wisdom on the Mahavakyas.
Mahavakyas, I remember that very clearly. Maybe we can do this again.
So 2021, let us hope that we'll have an opportunity to assemble at the School of Ancient Wisdom and do it. We wanted to do the Shanti Mantras and the Mahavakyas also. Let us, if we can get an opportunity, let us do it.
Yes. There are some plans, I think, Sajini, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in February onwards, we are planning to have programs in the school.
Let's see. We will have programs. As a matter of fact, some programs are going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Small programs. So hopefully we will have weekend retreats again when things are clear. Okay. So let us chant right now the Loka Samasta. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. That's our next program. And that is on Agni Hotra. Should be very interesting. So do join. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Krishnapani ji. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Sajni ji.